So now, did you review any other footage in this case?
Yes, I ended up going to, I think it was American, I can't remember what it was at the time. There's a station right there at the corner of 61, Denmark. There was a gas station right there at the corner of 61 and Glasgow Road or W90. Went there and looked at surveillance video.
And what did you find there?
So, again, I was able to locate Thomas O'Donnell, what appeared to be Thomas O'Donnell's truck in a similar time frame, just a few minutes after the video from the North Courthouse turns left onto Glasgow Road.
And was there any other footage from any other location here in Cumberland County?
I checked several different places, couldn't find any. A lot of the places when I was, by the time I got to actually go look at them, they had already, copied or whatever. Sergeant Hunt, going backwards in time, I guess, but Sergeant Hunt, like on the 27th, had called me and asked me if there was anything he could do to assist. I'm like, well, if you can go around and get surveillance video, any place you can find it or whatever. And so he had actually picked up the thumb drive of the surveillance video from the courthouse, and then he had retrieved also surveillance video from, I think it was Paul's auto. There's a place that he got surveillance video from.
Now, did you review any other documents or obtain any other documents from any other hotel during the time frame of August the 28th and September the 19th?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Between August the 28th and September the 19th. Any other hotel records?
I don't recall any.
Did you ever review any that would have happened the night before the murder on September the 18th?
Oh, yes, on the 18th, September the 18th, there was a Quality Inn in Cookville, Tennessee.
And you reviewed the guest registry from that hotel?
Yes, ma'am.
The night before the murder?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you find on that guest registry?
Thomas O'Donnell had checked in the hotel that night.
And did you view any flight records at all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and whose flight records did you look at?
We looked at both Julie Harding and Thomas O'Donnell's flight records.
Now, what did you find about Thomas O'Donnell's flight records?
So there was a flight, September the 4th, he flew out of Nashville Airport. That ticket was booked like in the 9 o'clock time frame the night before. It was an early flight, it left at 6 something that morning. And then we also located flight records on September the 18th. He flew out of San Jose Airport to Nashville Airport.
And what about Julie Harding's flight records?
We found where she had flown from Sacremento on September the 23rd to Nashville Airport.
And so that was after the murder.
Yes, ma'am.
Thomas O'Donnell's flight records were before the murder.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did you find anything in Julie Harding's flight records to indicate that she had been in Kentucky or in Tennessee before the murder?
Not in that time frame, not in the 18th, 19th time frame.
Can you please identify the documents that I just handed you?
This first page is the Quality Inn, receipt from the Quality Inn, where Thomas O'Donnell checked in on the night of September the 18th, the check-in times of 11:13 p.m. and he checked out on September the 19th at 11:53 a.m.
And so did you point that out on the document that is, and this is one of the documents that you were just looking at?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So again, I had actually went to the Quality Inn and and got a receipt from there. So again, it just shows Thomas O'Donnell, again, the address that he was using at that time as the check-in time and the check-out time.
Okay, so there's Thomas O'Donnell's name on that side, and then there's the check-in?
Yes,
Can you please state what the check-in date and time is?
it's September the 18th, 2022 at 11:13 p.m.
And that's the night before the murder?
Yes, ma'am.
And what about the checkout time?
And the check-in time, the checkout time is September the 19th, 2022 at 11:53 a.m.
And would that checkout time be consistent with about the time, giving a time frame of when Michael Harding was murdered?
Yes, ma'am.
And what time, based on your investigation, do you believe that Michael Harding was murdered?
4:46 p.m.
And that was on the 19th?
Yes, ma'am.
How far is Cookville, Tennessee from Burkesville, Kentucky?
Drive time, Google Map drive time shows an hour and 9 minutes.
And you just referred to the security footage that you've watched, or surveillance footage on the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
And what time again was Thomas O'Donnell coming around the courthouse?
The 12:55. I have to look back on that.
So close to 1 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
And you just showed us that he would have checked out of the Quality Inn in Cookville at about 11:53 a.m., close to noon.
Yes, ma'am.
And so with that, given how far it is from Cookville to Burkesville, would that have been enough time for him to make it to Burkesville to be going around the square at the courthouse at 1 o'clock?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, I now move to admit this Quality Inn records into evidence marked as common sense exhibit. They are authenticated. Now, at what point did you all make a decision to seek charges against Thomas O'Donnell?
So after we reached a point where we had also got a search warrant on Julie Harding's records, and again, a full-blown search warrant. We're asking for locational data, payer information, everything like that. We looked at the locational data on Julie Harding's cell phone. We also got financial records, did search warrants for Thomas O'Donnell's bank accounts. And again, kind of seen the same thing when you started matching up the bank accounts, debit charges and everything. It would match up to locational data with a prepaid cell phone, as well as locational data from his personal cell phone. Like for instances, when you were looking at it, you could see where it looked like it went stationary for like 30 minutes or something a lot of times.
But Elizabeth Wheeler with the FBI, she's going to testify to this
Yes,
location.
yes. So we got to a point that we were ready to get a search or an arrest warrant for Mr. O'Donnell.
Okay. Are you still looking though at Julie Harding being connected to this?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you're now looking for an arrest warrant for Thomas O'Donnell. Were you still working with the FBI?
Yes, ma'am.
And at what, do you know, time frame of when you all did seek charges against Thomas O'Donnell?
So we started discussing it in late November. I don't remember the exact date that I got an arrest warrant for him. But when we were looking at flight records, one of the things we saw was that O'Donnell had a flight scheduled to leave from Sacremento Airport on December the 8th. And so we had decided the FBI had worked with the California FBI office, and they were at the point that they were ready to get search warrants for Julie's Sacramento home where she was living, as well as they wanted to do a search warrant on Thomas O'Donnell's truck and Thomas O'Donnell's residence in California. And so we coordinated to figure out the best way to go about that would probably be to take him into custody after he clears airport security on the gate at the Sacramento airport. That way we could also seize the phones, any electronic devices that he had on him after he came through security. And at the same time, we're going to execute, or the FBI was going to execute a search warrant on the Julie Harding's Sacramento residence, as well as Thomas Harding's residence, and then also seize the truck to do a search warrant on the truck.
You mean Thomas O'Donnell's residence?
Yes.
And did he live also in California or have a residence there?
Yes.
Now, just backing up, between this time, has anything happened to Julie Harding as far as criminal? has she got any charges pending at all?
So there was an incident, I described briefly this whole back and forth between her and Natasha Davis. I think Natasha described it yesterday. So there's an incident where she ends up going through Natasha's house and opening the door and getting the dog, and so she had a misdemeanor Tennessee trespassing arrest warrant out for her.
And how was that going, were you going to utilize that at all in being able to see Julie Hart?
Well, initially, when we were coordinating the FBI as far as serving these search warrants and everything, we thought that Julie was still in California. And in the course of working through this, the FBI obtained, we always call them ping warrants, but essentially it's like they're active pinging the phone to see where her cell phone's at. They located Thomas O'Donnell. So when they first went up on the ping warrant, they see Thomas O'Donnell is in the vicinity of Julie Harding's Sacremento address.
And you recall about the time frame of that?
I think that was on, it was in late November. I don't recall this, I think it was like November the 28th or something. It was late November, I don't remember the specific day.
And so did anybody go and actually see him?
So when the FBI, when they see this, or we see this, they contacted me. Our first thought was that, we're going to catch them actually meeting up or getting together. And so the FBI sent out a surveillance team to set and observe Mr. O'Donnell. They located him, and there's like a community center, like a parking lot up from her residence, and they located him there. They did surveillance. It goes on for a couple of hours. He keeps driving down past her residence and turning around and gets out and walks around at some point. So this goes on for a couple of hours, and I guess we started to think, where's Julie at? And so I had contacted Agent Barnett back and asked him to run her license plate through the LPR on her personal vehicle. And when he did, it came back that, I don't remember, it was a day or two before, we had her on a license plate reader in Tennessee. And so shortly after that, the FBI went up on a live ping warrant on her personal cell phone. And she was at the lake house in Salina, Tennessee. And they ended up sending out a FBI task force officer just drove by to make sure she was actually there, and she was. And so then the plan at that point became that, okay, so we will also take Julie Harding into custody on this misdemeanor trespassing warrant. That way we can seize the phones that she has on her, off of her when she taken into custody. And then there was 2 FBI agents that also went down and attempted to do an interview with her.
And so when was Thomas O'Donnell arrested?
December the 8th.
And where was he arrested at?
The Sacremento airport.
And were you present?
Yes, ma'am.
Who else was present during the arrest?
Agent Doug Johnson. I don't remember all the names that we ended up working in coordination with the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department. They're the ones that actually staffed the law enforcement there at the airport. And then there was other FBI agents as well as the detective sergeant.
Now, did you interview the defendant? Did you interview Thomas O'Donnell?
Myself and Agent Johnson attempted to interview.
And did you?
This is a good place to stop right here, okay? It's a good place to stop. We'll pick it up there. The interview's about to stop. We'll take care of those that can be ready. So we'll see you with detective.
Yes, Your Honor. Detective Burton, we ended with you talking about an interview with the defendant, Thomas O'Donnell.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what the date was of that interview?
December the 8th of 2020.
And that was the day that he was arrested in Sacramento at the airport.
Yes, ma'am.
And have you had an opportunity, since having that recorded, have you had an opportunity to review it?
Yes, ma'am.
Has it been altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
And-
wait, let's come up here just for a second.
I saw it on the house.
Bring the jury back. Yes, sir. Step out a second. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody can sit. Please lay down for your brief moments. You're out today. I got to do application and I'll be doing this side. You may proceed. Excuse me for interrupting.
At this time, we'd like to play the interview.
Hey, how are you doing? Well, good. How are you? Tom? Are you Tom? I am. My name's B.J. Martin. I'm back with the state police, with the Central State Police. This is Doug Johnson. He's with the FBI. He's right before the office involved. Everybody?
Can we approach?
Stop the tape. Stop the tape.
Can we approach this?
Yes, you can. Now, when the jury comes back in, I'd like to set, for you to set a predicate for who it is on the identifiable voices and start it from the beginning, so this group, okay? You have a seat. everybody else gonna stand, you can stand. Don't want this special order on you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, they say third time is charm. Okay, and we're gonna, our technology's a little mixed here, you know, we got old technology, new technology, we're trying to bring it in. Everybody needs to see that. Thank y'all for your patience. You want to proceed in such behavior?
Yes, Your Honor. Now, Detective Burton, whose voices are we going to hear on this recording?
Myself, Agent Johnson, and Thomas O'Donnell.
And who is Agent Johnson?
Agent Doug Johnson with the FBI, out of the Bowling Green office.
And again, you're at the Sacremento airport.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's a room there provided for you all.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is only audio recording. It's not, we're not going to see any visual.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
The way I play.
Hey, are you doing? I'm good. Are you Tom? I am. Okay. My name's Steve. I'm back with the state police. Will you take the state police? This is Doug Johnson. He's with the FBI. He's over the field office in Bowling Green. You got everybody. All right. All right. You got it. So we'd like to talk to you about how we ended up here today, okay? So anyway, so part of this, we'll be more than happy to go through some of the reasons on, again, how we ended up here today, go through some of the stuff that we have. The flip side of that is we'd also like to get your side of the story, because there's always two sides of the story, and there's always stuff out there that we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things that we do know, but there's stuff that we don't know. Does that make sense to you? Sure. Okay. So before we can do any of that, one of the first things we have to do is evaluate your Miranda rights, okay? So what I will do is I'll basically just read through this. If you got any questions about any of it, I'll try to answer it. And then once I'm finished, if you agree to talk to us, I'll ask you to sign that down here and then do a place for your friend name and sign as well, okay? Does that make sense to you? Yes. Okay. So as a matter of fact, Tom, anything you do say may be used against you in court or in any other proceeding. You have the right to consult an attorney before you make any statement or answer any question. And you may have your attorney with you during the question. You may request the court to appoint an attorney for you if you cannot afford to hire one. You may stop the question at any time or refuse to answer any other question or by requesting compensation with your attorney. Taking this up, statement of my rights ready, explain to me and fully understand me. I'm not going to violate these rights, and again, we've got a place for the time and the day, so that it is freely and voluntarily without threat or promise. I'm not making any threats or promises to you. Again, we just want to talk to you. And as it says in there, many times you say you don't want to talk to us anymore, you can just let us know. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So at the end of your, that's just, you can read over again if you want to, if you have any questions on crazy things. Today is, actually, so what is this about? So you're being charged with murder of Michael Harvey. Okay. So that's what it's about. That's what we want to talk to you about. And again, we've got stuff that we would like to share with you, some things that we would like to go through. And just like I said, in any situation, there's certain things that we don't know, and then also give you a chance to explain your side of the story. So, sure. Okay. So again, if you're willing to talk to us, I'm willing to hear what you're charging me with, but I'm going to take it. Okay. So I'm just trying to clarify, okay? I understand either you're willing to talk to us or you're not, okay?
I want to hear you now,
Okay.
but if I answer, I have anything to say on this.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if I will have anything to say about any of it.
So before I can share anything with you, before I can talk to you about anything, we have to do this, okay? And again, this is not obligating you to talk to us. This is a sentence there. You don't have to talk to us.
I don't know that we're in my pocket. Maybe in that jacket pocket.
If there's a specific part, I mean, I can read it to you again. I read it verbatim, but if there's a part you don't understand, you can't see or something like that, I can read it for you again.
I won't waive any of my rights.
So again, it's very hard for us to have, we want to have a conversation with you. We don't want it to be a one-sided thing that's silly. You know, just sitting there telling us stuff, and we're not going to do that, okay? I'll just be point blank with you. So, we have information. We would be more than happy to talk with you and share that. But at the same time, we're going to have questions about things. There's going to be things that we're going to ask you. Before we can move forward with any of that, we're going to have to establish that you are willing to talk to us. Doesn't mean that you have to answer any of those questions or things, but we have to establish that you are willing to sit in here with us and talk to us, okay? This doesn't preclude you signing this doesn't mean that 5 minutes from now or 10 minutes from now, that you can't say the truth, okay? I just want to make sure that you understand it and that you understand what you're signing there, okay?
What's today's?
It's the ace or the eight. And it's got a place up here for the time. Again, it's just repetitive, which I always get confused. What is it? You got it. And then it just asks you to say it again. It's kind of repetitive. And again, just to make sure that everybody understands everything correctly. This doesn't mean, I mean, at any time when we're talking here, if you decide that you don't want to talk to us anymore or whatever, you just let us know, okay? Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. Just to start out with, and again, we have some of this information, just make sure I've got it correctly. What is your full name?
It's Thomas Francis O'Donnell.
And what's your date of birth?
12/30/61.
And your home address?
16261 Hollister Street.
So what is the actual live?
Right now, I'm home.
Okay. So when you say homeless, that means different for different people. Are you sleeping in your truck, or are you sleeping in a camper?
In the car.
In a truck or car, or what is it? Okay. What kind of car do you have?
Work car.
What is it?
Prius.
A Prius? So, how did you use that? What happened? How did you do that for?
All good friends.
Just staying with different friends? What was the last place that you stayed at? on your luck, or how did you end up to where you're at right now? Outstanding work,
Just moving around working. What company do you work for? That's not relevant either. Okay. You guys probably know what they do.
No, I mean, again, just like I told you in front, I mean, I like to be in front, and just like I told you then, there's stuff that we don't know, and that's part of the reason we're sitting here today. And again, some of this is why we want to talk to you. I don't know what's going on with your life financially. I don't know what's happened to you or how you ended up in this position. That may explain some of the questions that we have on down the road. If you've ended up on hard times, bad times, then there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody that's lived life that's lived long enough has ended up in a bad position and had bad things happen to them. Does that make sense to you? So, I mean, when I ask stuff like that, it's not that I'm being nosy or inquiring. Some of it is it's giving you a chance to tell your side of the story so that I can understand what's going on in your life. Once again, how we all end up sitting here today, okay? So, let me ask you this. When did you first meet Julie, or how do you know Julie? Julie Harding? Okay. So, and again, I don't want to jump around all day. Okay, I feel something. Any of us playing any games or anything, we know that you know Julie. We know about multiple phone calls between you and her. But there's a lot of things that we know. Again, I'm just asking a simple question as to how you met her, when you first met her, how you know her, that sort of thing.
It doesn't even ring a bell, really.
Okay. Again,
I date a lot of girls, so
okay.
I mean, seriously. How do you know the ladies? Usually I'll move out or
Do you ever do it again? Online dating or Facebook?
or go out and online, sure.
Okay. Okay.
What are some of the websites you prefer? I don't really have a preference. Okay. We're married, I mean, it's pretty easy, or it's just the way to meet people. Okay. I was curious, you said you meet a lot of women, so I'll just okay. Again, I'm not sure the relevance of the question, like dating. Okay.
So the question is, and the reason we went off about the dating thing is like you were the one that brings it there. I asked you how long you had known Julie. You said you didn't know her, and then you said that you dated a lot. So the implication was is that maybe you met Julie and you and her dated. I mean, by you saying that, that's kind of what led us in that direction. So is that how you met Julie? Did you?
I don't know.
Again, there's a lot of stuff that we do know. We do know that you know Julie. We do know that you talked to her. We do know that there's a lot of phone calls. I mean, today is your day. Today is your chance to tell your story as to how we ended up here. I can promise you that Julie is going to lay everything on you. And I don't mean to jump into things too quick, but I can promise you that if you give her the opportunity, Julie is going to negate her involvement in this whole thing, okay? I mean, just if you stop and think about that for a minute, okay? The position that you are in versus the position that she is in. Julie can come up with some outs. Julie can have some reasons to negate. She can have some reasons to explain phone calls, okay? You're not in that position. There's things that you're not going to be able to explain away. So you need to think about that for a minute, because outside of you coming forth and being truthful with us, if you go down the road of lying to us and not being truthful with us, chances are that Julie's going to walk away from it. Does that make sense to you? And again, I don't mean to come on too hard and fast. I have a tendency to be kind of rough, but I'm just trying to be up front with you and let you know what position you're in, okay? I'm from Kentucky, but I know you don't know much about Kentucky. The Kentucky State Police is probably one of the tightest agencies in the country. They don't want to spend money on nothing. They didn't send me out here to California for no reason, okay? Does that make sense to you?
I have no idea what Kentucky does.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to explain it to you, okay? I didn't get here by accident. He works out of the Bowling Green field office in Kentucky. He didn't get here by accident. So, number one, you saying that you don't know Julie, we know is not true. I mean, we know, I'll just throw it out there, we know that you were at around her house that night. I mean, that center day is not by accident. And I don't know, how we get past this initial hump, but I can tell you that you're not in a good position here today. And you saying the things you're saying right now about not knowing Julie, when we know good well that you do know her. When we know, I mean, I can tell you, I don't know how many phone calls you've had with her. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand me so far? What I can't tell, what I don't know, is the things that were said between you and Julie. And that's where you can help yourself out. Because I can tell you how many phone calls were made between you and her, but I don't know what was said. I can tell you what I suspect happened. I suspect this whole thing was Julie's ideal. I suspect that she probably pressured you or pushed you along on it. But I don't know those things. Unless you tell me what was said in those conversations, I don't know that.
I'm at a loss who you're even talking about, so.
Okay. So let's go, I'll go to a very simple question. Have you ever been in Barstow, Kentucky?
I'm not sure. I might have.
Okay.
I mean, I travel now. What would you say we have your truck on surveillance in Barstow, Kentucky? I'm going to try to get the chance here, man. Well, I'm done. I'm done here because I really, you guys are going to give me the information that's helping me, so.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be more than happy, like I said, we'll share information with you, but we gotta have a starting point when our baseline is, you're saying, when we started out with you saying, Julie, it's a little hard to even go from there, because that's something that's very, very basic. We know that you know Julie, we know that you've been to her house, we know that you've got 100 and some phone calls with her up to, prior to September the 8th. I could go on and on, but I'm sharing information with you just like I told you I would share information with you. But again, you have got to understand that right here, as we sit here today, this is a very important time in your life, whether you realize it or not. And the only person that can help you is you yourself. Again, I'm going to tell you some very elementary stuff, some very basic stuff. I'm from Kentucky with the state police. I work homicides. He's with FBI. They normally don't work homicides, but they do work murders for hire. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand that? I mean, I'm just trying to make sure you conceptually that you understand a very simple thing, okay? So he's sitting here, we're sitting here with you today. You have a chance to help yourself. But again, we have got to get past the very minor hurdles. And again, I mean, just like I told you in the beginning, I'm sharing information with you. There's 100 and some phone calls between you and Julie between July and September the 8th. September the 8th, you two stopped talking on your regular phone. I mean, I can go on and on. I mean, I've got you, I know you're in Salina, Tennessee. I know you flew out to the National Airport September the 4th. I know that on September the 18th, you flew back in the National Airport. Again, none of this.
You travel a lot, so.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I agree with you. You do travel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But Barstow, Tennessee, Barstow, Kentucky is not the sort of place that somebody gets to by accident. It just is. I mean, But we're sharing information. I tell you something else. A lot of people don't know this, but when a phone is on, his phone's in there right now, you get a location of that. Even if he's not talking to anybody, if nobody's calling him and stuff, it still gets that location of that. So we know about the phone. The same phone that was used to call the real estate agent, the same phone that was used to call Michael Parker. I mean, these are things we know, and again, I'm telling you because you're the one in the position you're in. We can do that, because like I told you, I have some stuff I wanted to share. I need to be crystal clear. I don't know if you're going to talk about it or not. Wave your rights, and since we're done, I need to be crystal clear. I do have some stuff I wanted to share with you.
Okay, Sarah, Lynn? I need to understand where you're
Again, the whole brand thing, are you willing to still talk to us?
I mean, it's got to be a two-way thing. I mean, he can't speak, we're not going to sit here and tell you everything. I mean, it's supposed to be a conversation. It's
So
not,
if we have a conversation, there's no way I'm leaving here and going back planner for you. No, so there's, I think we kind of rest. Okay. Well, then, I have nothing else to say.
Okay. Figure that out. Just,
Wait, Frank. And I'm going to leave you this copy. This is what officer, another warrant, what authorized me to be able to do this. This is something.
Again, Detective Burton, does that fairly and accurately reflect the interview that you had with the defendant, Thomas O'Donnell?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll move to admit this into evidence, Your Honor, and mark this Commonwealth's next exhibit.
Without objection, so ordered.
Now, I know we could hear on that interview about you giving the Miranda warning. Did you have Thomas O'Donnell to sign anything?
Yes, ma'am, it's a Miranda, a rights waiver.
Do you do that before any interview with someone that's a suspect?
Depending on circumstances, yes, ma'am, it's suspect.
That motion with us, Your Honor?
Made.
Can you identify this document?
Yes, ma'am, it's the Miranda rights waiver form that typically used prior to entering this one.
And is this the document that Thomas O'Donnell signed?
Yes, ma'am.
And this was signed before he gave the interview?
Yes, ma'am.
I move to admit this into evidence and Commonwealth's next exhibit. Now, during that interview, did Thomas O'Donnell make any incorrect statements to you?
He routinely denied knowing Julie Carter.
And you knew otherwise?
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you base that off of?
From the local phone calls, contacts between the two.
And was Julie also interviewed this day?
The FBI attempted to interview her in Tennessee when she was taken into custody on the trespass.
Was that also on December the 8th?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you aware if she gave any statement?
She did not give a statement.
And what happened to Julie after December the 8th?
On December the 10th, she said suicide.
2 days after that she was arrested for the trespassing, and also that Thomas O'Donnell was arrested in California.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did she commit suicide at?
At the salon, the lake house in Salon, Tennessee.
And who investigated that suicide?
TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
And were you made aware of that as soon as she found out?
Yes, ma'am.
Was Julie ever interviewed before her death?
No, ma'am.
She never gave any statements.
That's correct. She never got a statement.
Can I approach the witness, John? Now, we talked a lot about phone numbers up until this point. Could you please identify all these phone numbers and who they belong to?
So the first number there, the 530-925-5816 phone number was Julie Harding's phone number. The second number there, the 713-775-4000 number is Thomas O'Donnell's cell phone number. The third number there, 732-306-2550, is the prepaid cell phone that was originally referred to that contacted Alan Sewell as well as Michael Harding. And the fourth number there, the 931-704-4007, is Michael Harding's phone number.
And all of these phone numbers, will we see them later with Elizabeth Wheeler, the FBI agent that mapped the locational data on the phones?
Yes, ma'am.
As far as, do you know what the carrier is for each one of these numbers?
So the first two numbers, Julie Harding and Thomas O'Donnell, phone numbers are both Verizon phones. And then the last two numbers, the prepaid cell phone and Michael Harding's cell phone number are AT&T numbers.
And I'll move to admit that document there as Commonwealth Smith exhibit.
Objection, sir.
Go ahead. At this time, Your Honor, we're just going to admit into the record the AT&T phone records and Verizon phone records. They were sold on to the city of We'll do them individually. The AT&T first. Then the Verizon records. And these records, Detective Burton, are for all four of those numbers that we just saw on the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
And just as a cleanup matter, you obtained and got to view the divorce paperwork between Michael Harding and Julie Harding.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to move to admit this, Your Honor, at this time. It's been stipulated to.
Objection, sir.
Earlier, you talked about some communications or some text messages and the data that you obtained from Julie Harding's phone and Michael Harding's phone. Did you also obtain text messages between the two?
On Michael Harding's phone, yes, ma'am.
And what was the relevancy that you found with his messages to Julie?
There's a series of messages between him and Julie back in May. Looks like it starts just maybe a week or two before we filed the divorce. In those text messages, he specifically confronts her about the $102,000 that was taken out of the accounts. And then there's also in those message exchange, he accuses her of taking 2 handguns and 2 silencers from the house.
And through those messages, that all it do is confirm that there was a contentious divorce?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, we're going to move to admit text messages into the record.
Objection, so ordered.
You also stated that you had reviewed and obtained flight records for Julie Harding as well as Thomas O'Donnell. And if you had an opportunity to view those since then and confirm that they were what you viewed at the time when you were investigating this case.
Yes, ma'am.
In reviewing these records, what would you be able to see here?
You can see, they're a little bit confusing, but you have to look closely, but you can see the date that you can see the date that the ticket is purchased. You can see the date of the flight, but when you're looking at those, you have to be careful because it will also show up the date that the person actually checks in. Most people check in by cell phone anymore, and so that date also shows up as typically not important.
But as far as Thomas O'Donnell flying, what will we be able to see as when he did take his flights?
Yes, ma'am. You can see the September the 4th flight when he flies from Nashville, Tennessee to Sacremento, California. He changes planes in Texas, I think it was Houston, as I recall. And then you can see the return flight on September the 18th. And in that instance, he flies from San Jose Airport to Nashville.
And that would be the day before the murder.
Yes.
And what is the significance of Julie Harding's flight records?
So you can see that during that time frame that I just spoke about, she doesn't fly. And then you can see on September the 23rd, she flies from Sacramento to Nashville.
Your Honor, at this time, I move to admit these flight records into evidence.
Objection, so ordered.
At this time, Your Honor, that's all the questions I have. You will be subject to recall.
Be quiet.
Good afternoon, Judge
Okay.
You indicated that the prepaid phone associated with Thomas O'Donnell was being associated with Thomas O'Donnell on August 28th with location data, correct?
Yes.
And on September 19th, you testified that that phone was reactivated,
Yes, ma'am.
and there were 2 calls made from that phone on September 19th.
2 calls.
Yes.
I'm not sure. I have to look at the records. There was a mix of calls and text exchanges that day. There was a total of 11 between that phone and Alan Sewell, and there was a total of 11 between that phone and Michael Harding. There was a mix of phone calls and text exchanges.
I think you testified that that phone had been used to call Alan Sewell on September 19th,
Yes, ma'am.
and it had also been used to call AT&T customer service.
I don't remember what day it was used to call AT&T customer service, but there is a phone call on there, AT&T customer service.
And you did not subpoena a recording of the phone call with AT&T customer service.
No, I don't think it was recorded. I think it's I think it's an automated thing where you, like, when you activate the phone or start them. But, and actually we did, the subpoena was all inclusive, or the search warrant was all inclusive, that we sent for that phone number. It included any voicemail, payment information, anything related to that number.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning and the scene investigation. So you are the lead detective on the case,
Yes, ma'am.
and that means that you are the decision maker regarding the investigation.
Yes, ma'am.
And the scene investigation started on September the 26th
Yes, ma'am.
and ended on September 27th.
Yes, ma'am.
And you and Detective Dupree both entered the small house where Michael Harding's body was found.
Yes, ma'am.
And you photographed the house as you went through it.
Yes, ma'am. Detective Bree.
And that house, I think we've heard, has 2 access doors, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
A front door facing Glasgow Road
Yes, ma'am.
and a side door facing towards the detached garage.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were entering the home through the front door or the side door?
I think we initially went through the side door, and we had to go out and get some evidence packages, and I think we used the front door.
And was the side door open when you arrived?
I can't remember if it was standing open. I'm certain it wasn't locked because I remember walking through there, but I don't recall whether it was standing open.
And you and Detective Dupree searched the small house for evidence?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we did, it's a precursory walkthrough photographing just to get an idea of what we're looking at. And again, trying to get a grasp of what we'll need as far as if we try to process it or try to get the evidence of people to process it.
And on the 26th, you collected the .45 caliber cartridge casing from the floor next to Michael Harding.
Yes, ma'am.
And then at some point on the 26th, the decision was made to call in the forensics team,
Yes, ma'am.
and they did not arrive until September the 27th.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct. They come from Frankfurt.
And that team only processed Michael Harding's truck and the garage.
I'm not sure. No, well, I know that they swabbed swabbed the keypad on the front door, but I wasn't present when they were there. So I don't know as far as, I don't know if they went through the house and also looked in there for anything to process or not.
So do you not know if the small house was fingerprinted?
To the best of my knowledge, it wasn't, but I don't know if they looked at it and decided there wasn't anything to print in there, or I don't know how that decision was made, other than it was kind of their discretion once they got there, just like could be processed or what they thought would be the best thing to process.
So to your knowledge, it was not fingerprinted,
Correct.
and it also was not swabbed for DNA,
Not that I'm aware of.
but it was photographed.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And the swabs that were taken from Michael Harding's truck were eventually turned over to the FBI for testing.
Yes, ma'am.
And you did not submit any swabs to the lab for testing at that point in time.
No, that's correct. Once the FBI notified that they had got authorization to open a federal case, and we had a discussion, I'm like, I explained to them, I'm like, I have this evidence that was collected at the scene. Do you all want this evidence, or do you want me to send it to my lab? And they're like, well, we've got a case, just give it to us and we'll send it to our lab. And so that's what I ended up doing. I took it down, met with Eric Stroud at the Bowling Green FBI office and turned it over to them.
But you did end up sending some swabs in for DNA testing in June of 2024.
Yes, ma'am.
And those were swabs from Michael Harding's truck,
As best I recall, yes, ma'am.
and those were sent to the Kentucky State Police Lab for testing.
Yes, ma'am. That was after the test had been done to the FBI, and then it was determined that the FBI was not going to proceed with the case that they had because of Julie Harding's suicide. They ended up returning the evidence to us. There were some swabs that their lab had not tested or used, and so I sent those to the state police lab to be tested.
So that was a second round of testing.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I want to touch a little bit on the contact or your attempted contact with Julie Harding. You testified that you first tried to call her from the scene on September the 26th,
Yes, ma'am.
and that was around 3:41 p.m.
That sounds correct. I have to look back. I think I have it documented in my case report. Yes, at 3:40, I took make phone contact with her at 3:41.
And that was on the phone number ending in 5816.
Yes, ma'am.
But that call went to voicemail.
Yes, ma'am.
And then Julie was supposed to meet you at the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office that day.
Yes, ma'am.
But that was arranged through Sheriff Brandon Boone.
Yes, ma'am.
So at that point, law enforcement had not notified Julie that Michael's body had been found.
To my knowledge, that's correct, yes.
And you didn't get to speak to Julie to set up that meeting.
That's correct.
And Julie never arrived for that meeting.
That's correct.
Julie never called and said why she didn't arrive.
That's correct.
And so you attempted to call Julie several more times that night.
Yes, ma'am.
And all of those calls went to voicemail.
Yes, ma'am.
Julie never called you back.
That's correct.